You are listening to the Your Empty Nest Coach podcast with Coach Christine, episode number 38. Michelle's story, loving through the empty nest, raped as a teenager, and how it changed her life. This podcast is for you, a mother who years ago walked away from a career to raise your child. Sure, you've been busy volunteering, carpools, maybe part-time work, and taking care of everyone. But your main gig? That has been your child. Now that they are in their later years of high school, the empty nest looms ahead for you and it is freaking you out. I've been there and I get it. Together, we'll turn our freaking out energy into freaking awesome energy. Hello, my future empty nest friend. Before I get started, I have a request. My team and I are planning on taking some time off over the holiday season. And rather than going completely silent for that time, we thought we would share listener favorite episodes or snippets. That means that we are looking for your submissions for one of two things: something you learned from the podcast that has helped you, or your favorite episode. For both of these, explain what they mean to you and tell us what episode number it is from. You may email your recorded submission with your phone audio recorder or type it out. Send your submissions to podcast@youremptynestcoach.com. We look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for your assistance. And as always, a quick reminder that all of my episodes are brought to you by my free 7-day program, The Empty Nest, a guide to uncovering my future. And to be clear, we are talking about your future, not mine. Hop on over to my website, youremptynestcoach.com, and sign up today. Look for the link that says Uncover Your Future. For those of you who need a trigger warning, Michelle's story does include being raped as a teenager, as well as being in a dark time with no future plans. That being said, she's completely inspirational, and I can't wait for you to meet her. My amazing Empty Nest listener friend, my guest today is Michele. Full disclosure, Michele was one of my beta clients, and it was my extreme pleasure to work with her. I remember one of the first things she told me that she almost didn't graduate from high school. And yet she had in her same introduction to me that she has a BA in psychology, a teaching certificate, and a MS in special education. Do I have that right, Michele?
That is correct.
I clearly remember reading through this and thinking, this woman's tough, has been through it, and must have an amazing story to tell. I am super thankful that she has the courage to share a little bit about her story with us today. So welcome to the Your Empty Nest Coach podcast, Michele.
Yay, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. I'm like, listeners, we're like, our hands are up, jazz hands. We're so excited.
Yep.
Michele, thanks for being brave enough to share a little bit about your life story with us. I would love it if you would start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your family, and where you currently are on the empty nest journey.
Okay, well, usually when I think about myself, I think mom first. That is my first role. But I am also a wife and a teacher. I have twins, and they move in to college for the first time on August 22nd.
Oh, it's so close.
Yes, I have that date memorized. I have been married for 24 years, and I am, I guess, what they say, a low-incident autistic support teacher. Big mouthful. I teach special education. And as far as where I'm at in my empty nest, my beef stew is simmering.
Excellent.
I am enjoying the moments right now, the focus of my twins and where we are in the moment. I'm not stressing about where we're going. I'm not thinking about where we've been. I'm just enjoying the moment and simmering. We'll see what bubbles to the top.
Oh my gosh, this makes me so happy.
It's the perfect emoji. It really is.
Isn't it funny?
It's exactly where I'm at.
My editor was like, beef stew, where are you going?
But it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And, I've been trying to think about where am I at? Where am I at? And that's ideal. That's exactly where I'm at. I'm simmering and I'm enjoying the simmer.
Good.
Nice, slow warming up to the ultimate meal kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's where I'm at.
Yes. Wonderful. So, Michelle, one thing you shared with me is that you have powered through, I think I have this right, circumstances in your childhood, let me talk, slash teen years that might shock others. While that may be true, there are other people who may have a child going through what you've gone through, and knowing where you are now may be just what they need to hear. So, what is it about your early years that you think will be shocking to some?
I think shocking, like when I read that, I'm like, well, it's relative because shocking to some is not to others. For me, like when I've told my story, I'm just kind of like, well, it's mine. It is what it is. Others have been like, wow, that's an amazing story. My story, I guess, starts with at 15, I was raped. And it did a number on me. I tried to commit suicide. I didn't want to live. I did not want to live at all. It was just like, there was no feeling whatsoever. If you could feel numb, that's what it was. Complete and total numb. All I wanted to do was sleep. I lived, I sit there, I look at my kids now, they're just graduated. And I think when I was their age, my goal in life was to stop living at 21. I had nothing planned after 21 because I figured, okay, 21, I get to drink and then there's nothing to live for. So I lived my life without what I would call purpose. I just was there. So I guess that's pretty shocking.
Yeah, it's real. And that's like, even, it's a lot.
It is. And, and do not get me wrong, as I'm, laughing, and it was hard, and I would never want anybody else to go through it. But at the same time, I can't dwell on it.
Right.
Because if I did, I wouldn't see all the good that is now. There are teenagers that go through some really, really tough struggles. And the key is they can overcome.
Yes.
And I'm an example of that. My kids know my story. They know my story probably more detailed than what some would want their kids to know. My husband knows my story, and they are amazingly supportive. It's like, it's kind of like, this is kind of odd, but it's kind of like a scar that you have that's kind of like a badge of honor. I know that sounds odd, but it's there. You wear it. It doesn't bother you anymore. It's just there. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I should be sad, but it's hard for me to be sad because I'm not living in that spot anymore.
That's really good. And I think so in the moment though, when you were, 18, 19, 20, obviously, I guess you could never imagine you'd be where you are today. You had no future plan.
No, literally, I was making choices that when I look back on it now, I think, oh my gosh, I'm surprised I'm not dead.
Wow.
Literally, I'm surprised I'm not dead. Jumping in the back of strangers' cars, making poor choices as far as, illegal things, not like, but like drinking. I drank in high school. That's what I did. I did the college things, the kids at college, the things that kids did in college, I did them in high school.
Okay.
So it was kind of like when I got to college, because I made that choice and had gotten through all the gunk, I'd like to say I had my head on straight more. It was almost like my high school and college were flipped.
Interesting.
I that's the best way I could describe it. But there was no feeling there. I mean, literally, there were no dreams. I was never that type of person where I dreamt of who I would marry, what my wedding dress would look like, having kids, none of that. It was literally like looking into a black hole. I saw nothing. That's and that's how I lived, because I didn't want to wake up every day. When I would lay my head down to sleep, I did not want to wake up.
I'm so
And
sorry for younger Michelle. Like, I want to hug her.
younger Michelle had it tough. I mean, she really did, and I'm okay with it now. And I can be honest with you, it took me 15 years. I was raped when I was 15. For 15 years, subconsciously, because I was raped in January, I was raped, it was literally 2 weeks after my 15th birthday. So you're talking about a very young 15. And January would come, and I would become an evil, miserable person, just nasty and hateful and depressed. And I never realized that I was that way. Even after the birth of my children, January was like the most hated month.
Oh.
And when I turned 30, it was like, I'm not sure exactly what changed, but something happened, and I was able to step back and say, oh, that's why I'm acting that way. Do I want to continue to act that way? I was able to say, okay, you know what? I see this, but this isn't how I want to be. And from then on, things started to shift. It was almost just like the realization and the acknowledgement. And it's like, okay, I see it. I don't want to be that anymore. I want to move on. I've already come 15 years from that moment.
Yeah.
And now it's time to move forward. But it took me a long time. And I'm not perfect yet. There's still definite remnants there, but not enough to hold me back anymore.
Well, I would think we're all cheering you there.
Yeah.
So I have so many questions. So here's one is, for those of you, when you were in the moment where you couldn't see your future and you didn't want to wake up, how did you have a lot of people reach out to you and try to help you? And if so, how would you respond to them? And did it come across as help? Or I guess there's 4 questions in there.
Yeah. This is tough to hear. Okay. So I was raped, and, I'm 15. So I go to my 2 best friends. There were 3 of us that were, we were real tight. And they didn't believe me. They thought I was lying. They thought that I was trying to break the friendship up, the triad up. And that was really devastating. I questioned whether or not it happened to me. I really did. And I had told one other girl, and she believed me, but I had already talked myself or told myself it didn't happen. Now I'm black and blue. I have bruises from my neck down. I wore a turtleneck and didn't take gym class because I didn't want to change in front of people. So there was physical evidence there, but I hid it, and I told myself that this didn't happen to me, that I was lying to myself because my friends didn't believe me. And, I remember trying to talk to my mom, and she was so busy, such a busy mom. She had twins of her own, and she I don't want to say couldn't hear it, for whatever reason. It just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be heard, I guess. I don't know. It was just meant for me to feel it. Does that make sense? I don't know. And I can't answer those questions.
Right.
Because they were other people's, experiences. But for me, what I chose to do was I chose to suppress it. And it came out as, failing grades and, erratic behavior. And, I was always tired. I was just a mess. Basically, some people would probably say a typical teenager, but internally I felt dead, literally. That's how numb and dead. So I think, I sit back and I think, no, there wasn't anybody there to help me. And for whatever reason, that was the way it was supposed to be. That was how my story was written. I don't know. what's the words I'm looking for? I'm not here to blame anybody else.
Right.
This is my story.
Yes.
I could sit there and say it was my fault. I could blame the individual. It's my story. Those are my demons to deal with, so to speak.
Yes.
And, everybody's story is different. Even in my situation, even people that have lived similar lives, it's all different.
That is very true.
So, but, yeah.
So I guess if they reached out to you for like the failing grades and all the other stuff, at that point, it
didn't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing mattered. Literally, there was nothing that mattered at all. That it was so all-consuming of void that even like when I think back, it's very hard for me to find happy moments in those times. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was not a, people say, oh, if you could go back to high school, would you go back to hell no.
Oh, right. I'm thinking no.
Would I change it? No, because my future would be different.
Understood.
And I can accept that. I've lived it once. I'm good. Move on kind of thing.
Yeah. So, okay. So what are some of the most helpful things that you found over your life in helping you to get to where you are now?
That one, when I read that question, I thought, oh my gosh, what have been the most helpful things? I'd like to sit there and say there were pivotal moments. Yeah. I always think I dated this guy, like after my whole, struggles. I dated this guy. I was 18 and he hit me. He was, I didn't have healthy relationships. How could I? I didn't know.
I don't know how you would.
Right. So, for whatever reason, he came to my house and I slammed the door in his face. And it was the most empowering moment that I can remember in my teenage years. I mean, literally, it was probably the first time that I ever felt good. And from that moment on, I started making decisions. I started going to college. I started finding joy. Why did that happen in that moment? I don't know. But for whatever reason, I had enough power in me, enough oomph to care enough about myself to say, no, this is not what I want. And that was one of the biggest pivotal, I can't say the word, one of the biggest moments in my life that really started, that's where it started to change. And don't you know, a few months later, I met my husband.
Aww.
And I shared with him because I was starting to have nightmares because I had suppressed this for so long.
Yeah.
And I started talking to him, and all he did was hold me and accept me for me. And it was like, oh my gosh, there are people in this world that just care.
Yes.
And it was then that I was able to start healing more and feeling and growing. And that was truly amazing. And then it just like exploded. It was just absolutely amazing. So it wasn't always easy because now you're really starting to feel those emotions. And I had to deal with the self-hate and what's wrong with me. And I mean, I had anorexia. When my husband met me, I was 114 pounds. I'm 5'8".
Whoa.
And I was passing out. I wasn't eating. I mean, there was a lot of outward trauma that was manifesting. And I was very unhealthy. And in fact, I remember I passed out at work.
Oh, wow.
And my husband was like, you need to go to the doctor. You need to start eating. You need to be healthy. And I argued with the doctor. I'm going to be 111 pounds. Now here's a girl who's, 5'8", and I was going to be 111 pounds.
Oh my.
And that, because if I if I got smaller and smaller and smaller, maybe I wouldn't be noticed.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I thought. I mean, it was just another way I was manifesting how I can be done with life at 21. And then I didn't want to anymore, so yeah, it's.
Well, I'm really glad you met your husband.
I know. Right? Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Give him a hug for me tonight. Because
He's
like
always
you,
been my
and I'm
number
really
one
glad you're
support.
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So here's a question. So keeping in mind, this for my listeners, neither of us, Michelle or I, are therapists. So if you though, Michelle, could talk to a parent who's is their child experiencing something like this, maybe any area of it, do you have anything that you would like to say to them?
As a parent, I can't imagine what it would be like as a parent. I'm pretty lucky that as a parent, I, knock on wood, have not had to deal with a child like myself. But having to deal with other situations with my kiddos, and probably because of my life experience, I choose to love unconditionally when it comes to my kids. So I know they're not perfect, but I choose to hear them. I listen to what they're saying. I don't have to like it. I don't even have to accept it, but I will still love them for who they are. And I think that's the key. Like I said, every situation is different, but sometimes you just need to be heard. Like my husband, he just listened and he just loved me. He loved every single part of me, and he walked that journey with me. It still is 24 years, still walking the journey with me. And that's the key. That's being present.
That's so powerful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I would think your teenage years, do you feel like that has made you be that parent?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm Rebecca tells me I'm like crazy involved. I'm like, just there around. Every time she turns around, I'm there. And it is. I want to know what kind of music they listen to. I want to know, what they're watching on TV. I want to be a part of every little thing. I want to be a part of the mistakes they make. I want to be a part of, everything, because they're such a big part of me, and I want them to know that no matter what happens, that they are always loved, no matter what. They will always be my kids. They will always be welcome. They will always be loved. There will never be a judgment. It's not my job to judge them. It's my job to love them.
Wow.
So,
well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Okay. All right. So here's a heavy question. In this moment right now, what are you most proud of in your life?
Well, I guess there's so many. I mean, I'm proud of my kids, first and foremost. They are amazing young adults. They're so excited about their future, which is amazing. I love that. I'm so proud that my husband and I will be married 25 years next May. That is just huge to me. I mean, looking around, I'm proud that I have been able to, go from barely making it through high school to having a master's degree and helping other kids. I think I'm pretty darn strong.
You are. Yes. If you ever doubt it, you call me, because I have no doubt.
Yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good. I think I am.
You really are. You really are. So is there anything at all that you would like to share with my amazing listeners?
Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. We are human. We're not perfect, and it's okay. And you know what? Sometimes in this world, we're all we got. If we're lucky, there'll be somebody else. Hopefully there is. But you got to love yourself. You really do.
Yes, 100%.
You really do. Yeah. And be patient too, you know. So
Good job. All right. So should we lighten it up a little?
yeah,
Okay.
probably.
All right. Okay. All right. So before you go, I have my 4 questions that I ask every guest of mine. You probably have it
Yes.
memorized by now. Okay. So waffles or pancakes?
Waffles. My husband makes the best homemade
He
waffles.
does.
And he makes them my birthday every year. Love them.
Awesome. I like that. Okay. So
Yep.
what is one item you can't live without and why?
Caffeine. I tried once. It was the 3 worst days of my life. And I just decided I don't want to live without it. I love coffee too much.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I've given up everything else. I'm keeping that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
It's worth it. What is your all-time favorite movie and any particular reason?
You know, I was like trying to think of this, and I don't have a particular movie. I have people or moments that I've seen movies with. So, like, I love Star Wars because it was a movie I saw with my dad at a drive-in theater when I was younger. I love Wayne's World because it was my husband and I. It was our first date.
Aww.
Yeah, I love the Piglet movie because it was the first time I ever took my twins to a movie.
That's a great movie.
Right. You know, so I don't have like movies that I love the moment of
The emotion and everything around it.
Yeah, the experience of the movie. That's what it's all about for me. So
I love that. Yeah. That's great. All right. So you have an hour of alone time. No one will bother you, not even the ferrets. She has ferrets, listeners. What is your go-to thing to do?
Well, I am lucky because every day that I drive home, I have about an hour commute and it is my time. And my go-to is my Audible. And right now I am learning about mindfulness. I love to learn and grow and listen to, you know, lectures or whatever I can on Audible. And that's my go-to. That's my hour of bliss.
That's wonderful. And do you remember what you're reading now? Did you tell me?
Yes, I did.
Because I'll put it in the show notes because you like it, right?
It is so good. It's called The Science of Mindfulness.
Awesome.
And I love it. Love it.
All right, listener, there's a new book recommendation. Okay, so my empty nest friend, thank you for listening to Michelle's story. I would like to challenge you to think of someone who could benefit from hearing her story. And please share this episode with them because she did her part by being here and she's amazing. To see like where she was and now where she is so inspiring. So I'm so glad you shared that with us. And my wonderful empty nest friend, should you have any follow-up questions for Michele, please feel free to email me at Christine@youremptynestcoach.com and I will be sure that she gets them. Michele, thanks for sharing your life with us. You are one tough cookie and an amazing lady.
Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Bye.
Please don't hesitate to fly on over to our Facebook group. Our name is Green Popsicle Sticks. Want to know why? Listen to episode number 17 or head to my website, youremptynestcoach.com/community for links to join our flock. Why should you join our group? Well, the adjustment to not having your kiddos at home full-time isn't always easy, but it sure can be a ton more fun with a flock of friends. We look forward to seeing you there. If you are ready to begin the journey to find future you and use her as your GPS, definitely sign up for my free program, The Empty Nest, A Guide to Uncovering My Future. Episode 13 covers the high-level concepts of that program if you would like to check it out. If you like what you hear there and are ready to deep dive into the concepts, then take my free program as I provide videos and worksheets to assist you on your journey. Oh my goodness, did you hear? I have an online program, The Empty Nest, First Steps Towards Success. I now offer GPS reset weekend retreats, unplugged and charged up. And I am available for speaking events. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Visit my website or see this episode's full show notes. The questions I have for you in this episode are, number 1, What have you had to overcome to become who you are today? And number 2, how are you telling your story? As always, I provide content to make you think, my empty nest friend. My hope is that I am able to provide you with thoughts that positively impact your life. You'll find the show notes for this and every episode on my website. My next episode's title is Courage Addiction. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. It is free and you'll be notified when I post a new episode every Friday. If my show has helped you in any way, please share it with one other person you think it will help too. You'll be giving them a free gift. Thanks for your time and energy with that. And thanks so much for listening, my empty nest friend. Remember, you are amazing.